Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones, doing a little unexpected episode today as the loss at Michigan, Purdue's 75-73 loss at Michigan, coupled with Michigan State unexpectedly losing at home to Indiana, has shifted the Big Ten race enough since the last episode a couple days ago that I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about Purdue losing at Michigan, the factors that contributed to that loss, kind of where Purdue goes from here, and then, what it means for the big picture here. Because it's a pretty interesting situation we're in here. So let's kind of dive into things. If you don't, be sure to follow on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. But Purdue loses 75-73 at Michigan, a game that was a bit of a gut punch to lose. Purdue leads the game for almost 35 minutes. Michigan leads for just 3 minutes and 14 seconds. But Michigan leads for the final 2:48 of the game or so and pulls away and gets a win, one that's really big in the Big Ten race. Michigan sits atop the Big Ten now. It's 11-2. Purdue is 11-3. It has played one more game than both Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan State is 10-3 after losing at home to Indiana yesterday. Obviously the place to start in this Purdue-Michigan game is the officiating and the way the game was called. If you've listened to this show for any period of time, you know that I really hesitate to blame officiating or really criticize officiating. I've been an official. I've umpired hundreds of baseball games in my life, and it's not basketball, I know, but I've been in that position. I know officiating is hard. That's not doing it in front of 13,000 people or however many were at Chrysler Arena last night. It's a difficult job. But it stands to reason that when you look at this game, it is a little bit suspect. Michigan shoots 26 free throws, Purdue shoots 8. Now that alone, free throw discrepancy does not mean that officiating is always a part of it. If a team is sitting back and launching threes all day, it's probably not going to get many fouls called because it's not doing anything to force fouls. But Trey Kaufman-Renn gets 19 shots. He is one of the most high usage around the rim, battering ram type of players out there. He gets hit and hits a lot. He doesn't shoot a single free throw. Braden Smith takes 21 shots. Again, not always, he's shooting a lot of mid-range. He shoots 9 3-pointers, but he's got the ball in his hands. I mean, is he not getting checked at all? Because, Purdue never really gets to the 1-and-1. I don't remember if Purdue got to the 1-and-1 in either half. I'm pulling it up real quick. I guess Purdue would have Raleigh Burgess. That's right. That was a 1-and-1. Purdue gets one free throw in the 1-and-1 all day, whereas Michigan has plenty more. That stands out. And while there were, several calls in the game, a few of them just didn't make sense. I still don't know what happened on that one. I think it was the one that fouled out Caleb First, where the dunk doesn't go in, and then Vlad Golden gets poked in the eye or something, and they call a foul on Caleb First after they'd initially called a travel on Vlad Golden. I'm not here to redo the play-by-play for you, but there were some calls in this game that were interesting, and there were some non-calls in this game that were interesting. Caleb First has 7 shots around the rim. He has another several that are stripped or poked away or knocked out of bounds. He only shoots two free throws. He goes to the line once. I mean, was he only fouled in the act of shooting once? I don't know. But that plays a role. That absolutely plays a role. And I don't, as I said, I'm not sitting here saying the refs are the only reason Purdue lost, but the way the game was officiated and the ultimate free throw discrepancy does play a factor. Foul trouble did cost Purdue the game, though. This is something that has, Purdue's been playing with fire with for a while now, and that is foul trouble for Trey Kaufman-Renn. Purdue got away with it against Indiana. It played a major role there. Trey Kaufman-Renn missed time. Minnesota, Rutgers. I'm trying to think of the other games. Braden Smith against Ohio State. There have been a lot of games, though. Trey Kaufman-Renn at Iowa got in foul trouble. I'm pulling up the schedule now just because there's been a lot, especially since the new year. Indiana, Iowa, this one against Michigan, Rutgers, Minnesota. I can't remember about Toledo. Might have been in trouble there. My point being, this is, and we've been talking about it for weeks, Purdue can't afford for him to be off the court. And when he picked up fouls, there was a noticeable shift in the game. I can't remember what happened after his first foul. It was a foul. It was a light one as Michigan was going to the basket, but fair. His second one, though, you can argue that Will Cheddar fouled him first when he caught the ball, 2 hands to the back. But nonetheless, Trey Kaufman-Renn puts his body into him, moves Cheddar out of the way. That's going to get called every time. I don't know if it was a frustration thing. I don't know if it was something where he felt like he had to give it an extra oomph. But that picks up his second foul with over 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Michigan outscores Purdue 5-0 to make a 7-point game a 2-point game. And when you're at home, going into the break at halftime, when you were noticeably the worst team in the first half, when you get outshot 37 shots to 25 shots in the first half, that's a big difference. Going in down 2, not a big deal. Trey Kaufman-Renn picked up his third. Purdue got off to a great start in the second half. He picked up his third on Danny Wolf driving to the rim, and then he slides over and help late. To be fair, Trey Kaufman-Renn was pretty vertical, but, he's in the restricted area. It's not like it's going to be a charge. It's a situation where you don't really need the contest there because it turns into an and one. It wasn't like he gave him some big foul to force a miss. The momentum there swings back to Michigan after Purdue got off to a really good start to the second half. That's what happens. That's what it is that it's not just the foul. It's giving the other team the momentum of knowing that someone's in foul trouble. Because for Purdue, it can't afford to be without Trey Kaufman-Renn. You saw it yesterday. Purdue trying to go small, and when Purdue did have to go small, it wasn't as effective. Plus minus is what it is. Cam Heidi's a -8. Not a perfect stat, but Caleb First, Trey Kaufman-Renn, they're pluses. Raleigh Burgess is a minus. Camden Heidi's a minus. Not perfect, but it shows you that when Trey Kaufman-Renn's out there, Purdue's a better team. Purdue has two of the best players in the country, and maybe the 2 best players in the Big Ten, in Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn. You need them out there as much as possible because Trey Kaufman-Renn was incredibly effective. He's 11 for 19. He pulls down 7 rebounds. He was great. He had a great game. But when he's not out there, Purdue loses the low post scoring. It wasn't a great day for Caleb First in that regard. He did some awesome things. He was wonderful defensively. He was all over the place, super active on the glass, pulls down 7 rebounds, and it really felt like more. He has a couple of steals, 5 offensive rebounds. That's huge. He was great. But he goes 2 for 7 from the field, a lot of misses around the rim. So Purdue is such a different team without Trey Kaufman-Renn. It's a different team without Caleb First. He fouls out too. And it put Purdue in a tough spot. It put Raleigh Burgess in a tough spot. He went to the line for the 1-and-1, and he's just not he's not ready for spots like that in his career yet. There's no reason to believe he won't get to that point, but right now, he's just not ready for it. In the foul trouble, ultimately, you couple the questions that it's fair to have about officiating, along with some of Purdue's limitations. Foul trouble was huge. The bench production is the other area getting, discussed quite a bit, or really a lack thereof. Purdue's bench doesn't score. It goes 0 for 5 from the field. All of them a minus in the plus minus. Very limited numbers here. And look, this isn't new. I don't know if Purdue's had a game with no bench points this year, but this is not a Purdue team where depth is a strength. Purdue has had some teams in the past that depth was a real strength, that they didn't have a huge drop-off when it went to the bench. This year's team does. Certainly in the front court, but in the back court too. Fletcher Lawyer plays 36 minutes. I don't know if that's ideal, but Purdue had no other choice. Jakari Harris, I don't know. He got drilled on that screen by Will Cheddar, and I don't know if he was just shaken up a little bit or if he just had a rough day or what, but he only plays 8 minutes, and I don't recall if he checked in the second half at all or not. It's not coming to mind right now. Quiet day for him. Rough day for Miles Colvin. Now, again, he pulls down 5 rebounds in 9 minutes, and that's really good. But 2 turnovers. He gets a wide open look off of an inbounds play, barely grazes the rim. Just not comfortable out there. This is getting rough. Camden Heide, same deal. Couple of wide open threes, misses them both. Pulls down 1 rebound, 1 foul, 1 steal. Not that far off from a 17 trillion. This is getting rough for Purdue. Those two, their limitations are so obvious, and we've been talking about this for over a month now. But Camden Heide's made 16 threes this year. 11 of those came on or before Thanksgiving Day. On Thanksgiving Day, he made 3 threes against NC State. That was Purdue's 7th game of the season. Let's do some quick math. Yeah, that was Purdue's 7th game of the season. He'd made 11 threes at that point. Since then, in that'd be 18 games since, Purdue's 25 games into the year, he's made 5 threes in 18 games. He's now shooting below 30% on the season from outside. This is concerning. This is really concerning. And the same deal with Miles Colvin. I'm kind of doing some stats here. A third of Miles Colvin's made threes this year came in 2 games. He's 24 for 82. He made 4 against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. He made 4 against Nebraska. In the other 23 games, he's only made 16 threes. And, he's taken 70, right there about, 65 to 70. These percentages are getting really rough. And, they're both below 30% on the season. Neither of them has a tremendous offensive, versatile skill set outside of that. This is a Purdue team that is very centered around its big 3. And, Raleigh Burgess isn't a scorer. He hasn't been all year. It's not fair at this point to expect him to be a scorer. So as you're kind of looking at this, yes, the lack of bench production is very notable. But it is what it is. That's just part of this team. It'd be wonderful if, Miles Colvin and Camden Heide can start knocking down threes. Jakari Harris can give you a bucket or 2. Raleigh Burgess can steal a layup or something. But, it's kind of like Matt Painter talked about after the game. 51 of Purdue's 69 shots come from Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn. That's probably how it's going to be this year. That's how it's been all year. That's how it's going to be moving forward. Those 3 are great. Braden Smith was spectacular yesterday. The couple of threes at the end were big time. I think all of us thought there was a real chance that last shot was going in, just based off how the game had gone for him. He's done this thing when Trey Kaufman-Wren's not on the floor, be it foul trouble or otherwise, where Braden Smith is just taking over. And Purdue needs that from him. Purdue absolutely needs that from him, because there's not enough just ready-made offense on the floor. Purdue had a really rough offensive lineup out there. It was, I think, Raleigh Burgess, Heidi Colvin, Jakari Harris, and Braden Smith. And Braden Smith's out there keeping it afloat and I think extending the lead even. He was great. Fletcher Lawyer was huge. He hits some big shots early. He gets to the foul line in a couple critical times. He was tremendous. These guys for Purdue are really, really good. And when you look at what it took for Purdue to lose yesterday, it took Trey Kaufman-Wren being in foul trouble and that affecting the game. He played 30 minutes, but it was about when he had to sub out. It was about that he had to sub out for fouls, not that he had to sub out to give him a break. There's a difference. There's a difference in the emotion and the energy of the game. It's about that he had to sub out and that he ultimately fouled out. It's about the free throw disparity. That's something that you're not going to see a ton. There is a life on the road in the Big Ten element to it, but there is something there too. Michigan had to play well, and Michigan did play well. Michigan cleaned up the turnovers in the second half. Michigan had some good stuff, going. Shot well from the free throw line when it needed to. Now, Danny Wolf missed a couple late that gave Purdue a chance, but a lot had to go against Purdue. Just abhorrently bad bench play. Purdue didn't shoot particularly great. 7 for 20 is all right. 43% from the field, not great, but a lot of that had to go Michigan's way for Purdue to lose by 2 on the road, and it had a chance to win the game at the buzzer. Purdue is still the best team in the league, if you ask me. We'll see if it ends up winning the league. Right now, just as of this time, Wednesday night here, almost 7 o'clock. I know we've got a Big Ten game going on. I think Iowa's playing Rutgers, so that doesn't really have much conference ramifications. But, this is a Purdue team that's in a spot where it can still win a league. It can still get a Big Ten championship. It can still do it outright. These schedules down the stretch are pretty wild. I know I've been critical of the way the Big Ten is doing things here, but the amount of big-time matchups that are just at the end of the season, lunacy. Just lunacy. Michigan and Michigan State still play twice. The Big Ten tournament starts a week from tomorrow, or starts a month from tomorrow. No, it starts a month from today, the 12th. 4 weeks from today, the Big Ten tournament tips off in Indianapolis. Michigan and Michigan State still have to play twice. Michigan goes to Ohio State still. It hosts Illinois, it hosts Maryland, goes to Nebraska, which isn't some marquee matchup, but that's a tough place to play. Michigan has losable games here. The only one you look at, Ohio State, Michigan State, Nebraska, Rutgers, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan State. Rutgers at home, I don't think you have any worries about, but past that, these are all games that are between 39% and 62% win expectancy on KenPom. A lot of coin flips there. You look at Michigan State, loses against Indiana. I did not get eyes on that game much. By the time, I'm doing some stuff after the game and Michigan State's up big early. It's 22-8. I move on, do something else. I see IU's up in the second half, and a weird one. Head scratching, but as I've said, Michigan State's three-point shooting has to matter at some point. It mattered yesterday. IU zoned it, and Michigan State can't shoot out of a zone. USC kind of did the same thing. Purdue's not going to zone Michigan State, but you can do some zone concepts a little bit some pack line concepts. It'll be interesting. But Michigan State goes to Illinois on Friday. Michigan State's lost 3 of 4, and here's what it has next. At Illinois, Purdue at home, at Michigan, at Maryland, Wisconsin at home, at Iowa, Michigan at home. I mean, this is a brutal stretch. Only one game outside of the KenPom top 20 as of right now remaining. That is rough. And then Purdue, not an easy slate to end the season either. That's why yesterday would have been big if Purdue could have gotten it. It gets Wisconsin at home on Saturday. Purdue better be ready to go for that one. You can't have any hangover. Wisconsin's a really efficient offense. Wisconsin shoots a ton of threes. Almost half of Wisconsin's field goal attempts come from three-point range. Wisconsin gets to the free throw line really effectively. It shoots really well. It's the best free throw shooting team in America, 84%. Purdue can't get foul happy, but Purdue's got to come ready to go. Purdue's the better team, but you can't let Wisconsin gain momentum and hang around. You got Wisconsin. You go to Michigan State. You go to Indiana. That's not going to be easy. You get UCLA at home. UCLA is playing pretty well right now. UCLA also hasn't won on this part of the country yet, so we'll see. Rutgers at home. You go to Illinois. If you're Purdue here, if you can win your home games, if you go 3-0 there, then your absolute floor is 14-6. Can you get 1 on the road? Can you get 2 on the road? Winning out would be a big ask. But if you can go 5-1 here, which would be big, be 16-4, that's going to win you the Big Ten. I'd be stunned if Michigan goes 5-2. I really would. I think Michigan's going to go 4-3, and I think it's going to come down to what Purdue does. Does Purdue get to 15-5? Does it fall to 14-6? Does it get to 16-4? I think Michigan State is going to drop some games. I really like Purdue's chances up there. I really do. It's a tough place, but I don't know. I think Purdue's in good shape there. Purdue's in good shape in general. It is. I do, in my heart of hearts, think that Purdue's the best team in the Big Ten. The metrics would reflect it. You know, the predictives do reflect it. Purdue's in a good spot. It is. It has to take care of business at home, and it has to have Trey Kaufman-Renn on the floor. If it does that, if it wins its home games and Trey Kaufman-Renn's on the floor in away games, Purdue's going to be just fine, and Purdue's going to be the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. It's going to win it outright. If Purdue slips up at home, or if Purdue loses on the road with, Trey Kaufman-Renn is in foul trouble and unable to play, you open the door to lose this thing, and it'd be a bummer. It'd be a bummer. It wouldn't be like it was a couple of years ago, the Jaden Ivey, Travion Williams year, where that Purdue team had just messed around to the nth degree and lost it. But it would be a bummer if Purdue doesn't win the Big Ten this year, because it does have the best team. It's taken a couple of really puzzling losses. We'll see where things end up. As I said, no episode this weekend. I'll be back after the Michigan State game. One thing to keep an eye on, the selection committee does their little top 16 reveal on Saturday, right before Purdue plays Wisconsin on CBS. See where Purdue is there. I would expect a 2 seed, maybe the top 3 seed. I don't know. I'd be a little surprised. Purdue's got a pretty good resume here. Purdue's put itself in a great spot. All but one of these games down the stretch are quadrant 1. I don't think any of them are in too much danger of falling out of quad 1. Maybe some of those homes, UCLA at home, Wisconsin at home should be all right. But Purdue's in a spot to add some more really good wins and, cement itself in that 2 seed mix. And that'd be a wonderful, wonderful place to be in. But that's all I've got. Wanted to come on, do a little something. Thanks for listening. We will be back after Purdue, Michigan State. Follow on Twitter, @BoilersBeyond. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to send me some questions. We'll talk next week. Take care, guys. This episode was brought to you by me. Yes, me. When I'm not watching sports, or more accurately, talking about them, I'm talking insurance with the people of Indiana. As an agent with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, I want to help you protect what you've worked hard to achieve. From home and auto to life and business insurance, I'm here to help you. Give me a call at 317-846-5861 or email me, jordan.jones@infarmbureau.com, and let's protect you from life's everyday risks.